Hello, my frightening friends. We're here to predict the Nintendo Direct coming up on November 12th at 6 a.m. Pacific Time. This is going to be a general direct, the first general Nintendo Direct of the Switch 2 generation, not counting that first Switch 2 Direct where they showcased the new games for the system and really the launch date and all that great stuff. We did not get a June Direct. We did get a partner showcase in, what was that, August or something, or July? So that was kind of an odd one. But yeah, with this is, yeah, it's a big Direct. It's 60 minutes. That's quite a lot. It's about as long as the Switch 2 announcement Direct. So should be quite a lot of stuff here. And I'm just going to go over my predictions. I will say I did keep it relatively safe. Nothing too out there, just because that's not what I'm feeling. I see the 60 minutes, and I think a lot of people get excited by that, but I think there are some ways that they could fill up that time frame, which might not be the most exciting, but we'll get into that. Okay, first of all, I think the Mario 40th anniversary, Super Mario Brothers that is going to take up a significant chunk of time in the Direct. And here's what I think we'll see for that. I think we're going to get announcement of a Mario Kart World update, perhaps a Shadow Drop. And I don't see this being too ambitious. Potentially just some costumes, like a Mario costume, and maybe one or two of the other characters. So that seems reasonably likely. I think we're also going to get new news on the Mario movie sequel, which has been leaked to be titled Super Mario World, and is going to feature Yoshi as per the post-credit scenes of the Super Mario Brothers movie. And we'll probably also get the reveal of that title, poster maybe, and some cast announcements for the additional cast that are going to be added, potentially the Koopalings or Bowser Jr. I don't know who else they would add to the cast, but I think those characters are reasonably likely. Maybe we'll see one or two of the actors show up. Miyamoto will definitely be there for this section, you'd have to imagine. Moving on then, we get Mario 40. I see this as a follow-up to Mario 35 for the 35th anniversary, where it was a version of Tetris 99, but with 35 screens, and you were all playing Super Mario Brothers, which was pretty fun. Not my favorite of that series of games, but pretty cool. It was only available for a limited amount of time, which was really goddamn stupid, but whatever. So I think they're going to bring this back because it wouldn't be that hard. It's a nice incentive for people to go on the Nintendo Switch Online service, which they always do around September. They tend to release some sort of update or big game or new system for the Nintendo. I guess it's Nintendo Classics is what it's called, the emulation. So I think that's what we're going to see for the Nintendo Switch Online service is Mario 40, and they'll probably have some new gameplay components, and that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to the likely possibility of that coming back. I do think it's too early for a new 3D Mario game as well as a new 2D Mario game. Wonder was 2024? That was last year, right? Or was it 20? No, it was 23. Man, I'm losing track of time here. But I do think we could get a spin-off. I don't think we're going to get a sports spin-off yet. Maybe next year. But I could see the announcement of Mario Maker 3. I do feel like Super Mario Maker 2 is maybe rushed to release because it really didn't have that much new content compared to the Wii U version. They added some major stuff like slopes. But then in terms of new game themes, all they had was Super Mario 3D World, which is kind of odd. Other than that, it was just the same themes that were on the Wii U version. And then you have that worse control setup where you don't have the Wii U gamepad. You can use the touchscreen of the Switch, but when you're on TV mode, you have to use the controller, which was not very intuitive. So Mario Maker 3 I could see happening, and I'm hoping for a more ambitious version than Mario Maker 2, which is still good, just not, it doesn't surpass the original game in that many aspects. And I do think we're going to get a highlight of the mouse mode, and I also think we're going to get some 3D games included alongside the 2D games. I don't think they're going to separate a Mario Maker game between 2D and 3D. I think they'll have both in one package. Seems more likely to me. The 3D games I can envision them including, most obviously, are Mario 64 and Mario 3D World. I think those games are just probably the most well-suited to drag and drop level creator and well, utilize the mouse mode. I think Nintendo will probably do a pretty good job at keeping it intuitive while having a lot of options for those different modes. So that'll be cool. Maybe also a Wonder theme for the 2D sections, potentially. We're going to get some more merchandise. They had this in the last Mario Anniversary Direct, and that was like whatever. I don't really remember much. But maybe some Lego stuff. I don't know. Then we could get a Super Nintendo World update as well. I don't think this would be very substantial. Maybe some like exclusive merch or event for the theme parks could happen. But I don't see that being a huge focus. And then we could get a new Switch 2 edition of a Nintendo Switch game featuring Mario. Most obvious I could think of is Mario Wonder. I think that would do very well for a game update like Kirby Star-Crossed World. That, just some more levels would be really nice. And higher resolution. Maybe you could even get 120 frames per second with Mario Wonder. I don't know. Could be. So that would be exciting. Moving on from Mario stuff, I've got a few other things noted down. In terms of other Nintendo games, we could get Metroid Prime 4. We're definitely going to get Metroid Prime 4 in this Direct. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is getting a late September release. I don't know why I said April. I'm going to go for September 25th because it's the last Thursday of September. I think we'll also get a Metroid Prime 4 Direct announced for next week. And I think this game is coming soon. They've showed it off a lot. It's been demoed many times. I think it's ready for release. If you recall, Metroid Prime Remastered was a shadow drop and then got a physical edition later. I don't think this is quite going to be that, but it's going to be relatively close in that the game should be coming out quite soon after this Direct. And, we had a somewhat similar thing with Silksong, which was a highly anticipated game. And then the release date was announced just, I think, 2 weeks before it actually released. So a similar thing could work quite well. This game has been anticipated for so many years, almost a decade actually, which is nutty. But I think you can just pay off that momentum by having it release soon after the Direct, even if it's not a shadow drop. Having it be September would, I think, make a lot of sense. And I think it's weird that we don't have any major first-party releases for September, even compared to August. Like, there's not anything like Drag X Drive or the Kirby Nintendo Switch 2 edition this month. So I think there's got to be something. Although I suppose we could get a shadow drop of maybe Mario 40, as I discussed. So maybe, yeah, we'll see. That's what I got on Metroid Prime 4. I don't know what they're going to show of it. Just more, I guess. I think Kirby Air Riders character announcements are pretty likely. I think that's the most obvious way to generate more excitement for that game in a supplemental trailer. Maybe Sakurai himself will come out for a minute or two, maybe not. In terms of character candidates, who it could be, I could see Taranza showing up. It's one of the major ones that's been excluded thus far, which I would really like to see and I think would be reasonably exciting. Some other candidates, Daroach, he'd be a unique pick. Marks as well, I think, is not unlikely to show up. Sakurai seems to like Marks a lot. You put him as a boss battle in Smash Ultimate, so that could happen. I think we're going to see some Nintendo Switch 1 games, namely Tomodachi Life, and I think that's also getting a Switch 2 edition. Definitely, I would predict a spring 2026 release, coming in January or February or March. Then Rhythm Heaven, same thing. I think a Switch 2 edition is likely. Boost in frame rate and resolution for both those games seems pretty possible. I don't think they would have much difference in content, sort of like how Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon ZA don't have much differences between the Switch 1 and Switch 2 version, other than stability, frame rate, resolution, etc. Yeah, so I think with Rhythm Heaven, we're also getting a spring release. Just seems very like an obvious place to put it. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. Not a game I'm personally that excited for. I don't know. I feel like I haven't played any of the Hyrule Warrior games properly. I feel like if I were to, I wouldn't start with this one. But maybe, if it gets really great reviews, could check it out. But yeah, not one I'm chomping at the bit for. Either way, personal opinions aside, I think this is going to get a January 2026 release date. I don't see them really doing the December game this year, but I could be wrong. Of course, all these predictions, I could be wrong. But for my money, I would say this is January 2026, in large part because they've noted that this game is coming out in winter, but haven't actually said whether that's winter 2026 or 2025. So because of that, I'm going to slide it into 2026. Then we get another game that was announced that we haven't seen much of, which is Splatoon Raiders. I'm pretty excited for this. A Splatoon spin-off is a great idea. Looking forward to seeing how that is pulled off. I think we're going to get a bit more information and release dates. 2026, I think, without a release timing window, just because we don't even have a year for that game, if I'm not mistaken. And I think we're going to get a new character, potentially a villain, announced. Seems like the timing is right for a bit more story context. And yeah, that should be fun. Looking forward to seeing more of that. And I think we very likely will tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Okay, third-party games. Don't have too many. This is part wishlist, part games that I think are pretty likely. Doom: The Dark Ages, the third of the modern Doom trilogy. Got quite good reviews. Of course, this is by Microsoft, the evil corporation we all despise, but, you got to admit they do make games you're interested in at times. So I think that's possible. The previous two modern Doom games, actually all the Doom games, essentially got ported to Switch 1, so I think there's going to be a effort to get Doom: The Dark Ages running on Switch 2. Ran on Series S. I don't know if it ran on Steam Deck. I don't think it would have run on my PC. I think it was beyond the minimum requirements of a PC, but maybe it'll run on a Switch 2. It could well be the case. We're seeing some ports are being lauded as quite impressive. The recent Star Wars Outlaws was, from a technical standpoint, quite well regarded. So seems like some third-party games are able to do very well on the Switch 2. And Doom: The Dark Ages is one that I think is a reasonably likely candidate. I don't really have any release dates noted for these down, but I think that'll come to the Switch 2 eventually, if not now. I think we're also going to get it, the Master Chief Collection, at some point. I really wanted this on Switch 1. I think it could have run on Switch 1, but Switch 2, maybe that's the time. Yeah, really like the Halo games. This is where I played them on PC, on the Master Chief Collection. Played them a bit as a kid, and then rediscovered them more as an adult on PC, which, was a lot of fun. I really enjoy those games. Would be potentially a good online game. Lots of content, obviously. And, that'll be pretty special to have a Nintendo Switch 2 version of Halo. Expedition 33, or Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is the full title, of course. This is one of the few games I went out of my way to play this year that's on PC. That's my other gaming device that I use for gaming on occasion. And I did because it was getting such positive attention, such great reviews, and it really looked like my kind of thing. It was indeed that. It kind of ruined my mood for quite a while after finishing it, but that's besides the point. I did still love it. I think a Switch 2 version is quite likely. The developer has expressed some amount of interest in that, and I think Nintendo will be prioritizing getting them a dev kit. I think, it's pretty clear this is going to be a major Game of the Year contender in the fall and winter, so I think getting it, putting in the steps to get a Switch 2 version of it is pretty likely. And I think it could run on Switch 2. It ran okay on my PC. Almost hit 60 most of the time, which is good enough for me. So I think it could come over, and that would be quite exciting. Last thing I thought of is Hades 2. Hades 2 could very likely get a release date in this Direct, and that would be quite exciting. The first Hades was classic, so would love to see another one. What do you mean would love to see? It's coming out. I know it's coming out. So yeah, I think that's also likely. Yeah, again, I don't have anything too out there in terms of predictions, mostly just updates on pre-existing games that are pretty likely. I just couldn't think of too many big things that are really likely to happen, other than that Mario stuff. And even with that, I don't think we're getting 3D Mario quite yet. I think the soonest we'll even see a trailer for a new 3D Mario would be next year, but we'll have to wait and see. Either way, very excited about this Direct. Plenty of things to look forward to, and I'll post my reaction when that happens, bright and early again. It's at 6 a.m., which is a bit of a shame. I had, when they opened the Nintendo SF store, I'd been potentially looking forward to watching some Nintendo Directs there on the big screen, because I've seen the Nintendo NY reaction videos, which are pretty fun. But they've all been too early so far. They've all been before that store is closed in Pacific, or they've all taken place before that store is open in Pacific Standard Time, so I've not had a chance to do that, and that's just not changing with this Direct. Okay, well, exciting times, and I'll see you on Friday with a reaction. It'll be fun for one and all.